Hey guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, bringing you an unboxing plus on-feet video of the Concave Quantum 2. Now as you can see, it comes in this really nice red and white drawer style box. We'll pull the drawer out and you can see they come with a couple of extras. The first extra is this little brochure that goes over some of the tech specs behind the Concave concept, some insight on their entire shoe lineup, as well as just general information on the company as a whole, which we will of course go over in today's video. Along with that brochure, they also include a string bag, which as you can see is red in color with your white Concave branding there on the front. A nice little extra that I honestly was not expecting. And other than that, inside the box you will of course find the shoes themselves. So let's get these out of the box really quickly, get this out of the way, and if you guys could take a second to leave a like on the video, it would be greatly appreciated. So here is a look at the Concave Quantum 2, and I must say I'm extremely excited to try these out. I've been intrigued by the Concave concept ever since it first came on the scene several years ago, but unfortunately have never actually had a chance to try them out for myself. And I really want to stress that as I'm making this video, this is a first impressions video. It's an unboxing video. I have not worn these shoes. I have no idea how they perform. I have no idea how this concave striking element feels when striking the ball. Everything that I'm saying in today's video is just based on first impressions from trying the shoes on and holding them in my hand. So please keep that in mind. I will of course follow up though with a full review once I've actually worn the shoes. I just don't want you guys to take what I say in today's video and assume that that is the case no matter what. Because like I said, I'm not talking from experience here, I'm just talking based on first impressions, which is extremely important with this particular product, and I'll explain why in just a second. But as far as Concave as a brand is concerned, I'm sure a lot of you guys are probably familiar with them at this point in time. They've been around for a little while now. It's an Australian-based company, and their claim to fame is of course this very distinctive concave striking element going across the front of the shoe. You can't miss it. It does arguably make shoes look a little bit bulky, and essentially what it is a concave plastic wedge across the main striking area of the foot. It's concave like this. As you guys can see, it has that curve there, and it also is concave kind of sloping down. So it's designed to really cup the ball, kind of match that shape of the ball when you strike it, allowing for a very, very clean contact and an enlarged sweet spot. And like I said, it's made of a hard plastic. There's really no padding to it whatsoever. It doesn't have much flex to it either. It's a solid piece of material backed by some memory foam as well as a padded tongue. So for those of you wondering whether or not it's uncomfortable, that's not the case at all from what I can tell you so far after having tried them on. So as far as what this is supposed to actually do, I think that gimmicks are a pretty common theme on my channel as far as soccer cleats are concerned. We see this a lot in company marketing, especially from the big brands where they claim speed boots are going to make you run faster, control boots are going to allow you to control the ball better, power boots are going to increase the power of your shot. And whenever we see these types of marketing schemes, they're more or less empty promises is kind of how I like to describe them, where they say, yeah, these are control boots, they're going to help your control. We don't really want to tell you how or why because there isn't actually a how or why to that answer. It's more or less implied and people just believe it and take it for what it is, and there's nothing wrong with that. But again, shoes don't make the player. If you're a good player, no matter what type of skill it is, you're going to be able to perform that skill in most soccer shoes as long as you're comfortable in the shoes you're wearing. Control boots are going to make you control the ball better. Speed boots aren't going to make you run faster. Power boots aren't going to make you shoot harder. But with the Quantum 2 from Concave, where that changes thing is instead of making an empty promise, while these don't come with a guarantee, they actually give you some numbers as to how these will benefit your performance, in that they claim that the Concave Quantum 2, this is their power boot model with the largest striking element, can increase the power of your shot anywhere between 8 and 15%. And while these don't come with a guarantee, it's definitely a very, very interesting number to throw out there, and that's really what makes me so curious to actually try these out. Now, when I see a statistic like that, automatically I have to be skeptical. I think anybody would be, but when I see the design of this shoe, this extremely unusual hard plastic concave striking element, that kind of number, 8 to 15%, almost doesn't seem outrageous to me. So again, I'm just extremely curious to try these out, and I will be testing out whether or not these actually do increase the power of your shot in video form using a radar gun versus all kinds of different shoes. I've done a video like that in the past, and I'll leave an annotation on screen to that video for those of you guys that missed it perhaps. It was like 2 years ago now. It's something that I want to do really badly, and I'm extremely curious to try this out and see if it does increase the power of your shot. I've actually been waiting on remaking that video until I finally got a pair of concaves, because I felt like this, if there is a shoe out there that's going to make you shoot the ball harder, it would be this particular product with this concave striking element. So like I mentioned, the striking element is pretty straightforward. It's made out of plastic. It's definitely not as bulky in person I was honestly expecting, but the shoe overall is definitely that of more of a bulky type of silhouette. It's not going to be streamlined. It's not going to be ultra lightweight, although they aren't heavy. They're just not, like I said, a streamlined shoe if that is what you're expecting. And I just don't think you can make a streamlined shoe with this type of concave striking element. So the concept here essentially is to enlarge the sweet spot when striking the ball. According to the kind of tech specs that Concave kind of puts out, I'll just give you guys a quick look at this brochure. It explains it pretty well. The natural shape of your foot is convex, so it kind of bumps out, similar to like a spoon. You can see that example right there. Whereas the concave kind of bends in to match the curve of the ball. It's kind of going to cup the ball a little bit, give you a cleaner contact, if you will. So that's part one of the sweet spot concept behind the concave design. And then as you can see, normally that sweet spot is just one little area on your foot, but kind of made visible by this little red line right there. But with the concave striking element, that increases the sweet spot 4 times. So you have 4 times larger of a sweet spot here with this very flat striking surface that is very, very clean, no laces in the way at all. And it's also made from hard plastic, so it's going to increase the kind of impact area when you strike the ball. Those of you guys that don't like striking the ball in padded leather shoes because you feel like it takes away from the responsiveness, I would have to assume that a hard plastic shell would increase the responsiveness when striking the ball as opposed to absorbing any of that impact. So again, just extremely curious as to how these are actually going to feel and perform when it comes to shooting. As far as what the Quantum 2 is all about as far as upper materials are concerned, you're going to have this vamp here at the front from this seam going across the toes, and then this entire instep piece right here is made from high quality kangaroo leather, and the quality is definitely very, very good. It reminds me of some of the leather you're going to find on Asics models, which is definitely a good thing. Nice quality, kind of an unusual stitching pattern as you can see, but for the most part it makes for a comfortable fit, and you really can't go wrong with kangaroo leather as a whole. The rest of the shoe, including the liner on top of the concave striking element right here, as well as the materials going around the outside, and then this blue kind of lip area going around the back of the heel, is a synthetic leather material. It's nothing that feels overly high quality, to be completely honest with you. I would even say it feels a little bit cheap, to be completely honest, but for the most part it should get the job done. It doesn't feel uncomfortable on your feet, and for the most part it just should perform pretty well. In terms of the lacing system, it's kind of unusual, and it kind of has to be because of this very large striking element here on the front. It's a lacing system that's kind of similar to the Nike T90 Laser 2s, for those of you guys that remember that shoe, where it kind of laces on either side. It's difficult for me to show you guys. I can kind of pull it up. You can see the internals here, but it laces kind of zigzag like that, crosses over in the middle, and then it turns into like a normal lacing system here at the top, where essentially you just pull the the two laces on either side, and it tightens it in order for you to center the concave striking element to allow for the biggest sweet spot possible. And I'll actually give you guys a little bit of a demo on how to tie these up later in the video. It does have more of a mid-cut area, so it's not a shallow fitting shoe. It has a deeper fit to it, so it should feel nice and solid on your feet. You can see that you do have a very small external plastic heel counter, something that I personally like to have on my soccer shoes, so an external heel counter is definitely appreciated on this particular model. The heel liner is a synthetic leather, and there's plenty of padding there, so again, comfort should not be an issue whatsoever. The insole is fully removable. You can see it features the concave branding right there on the heel, mesh liner on top, and it definitely appears to be very narrow, but trust me when I say that this is not a narrow fitting shoe, and we'll talk about more about that later in the video. And then it's made from a solid piece of white foam, really, really dense foam, nice high quality, and then you have this kind of spongy soft foam here under the heel, as well as on the base of the sole as well. So plenty of heel cushioning on this shoe, allowing for a great deal of step-in comfort, more so than what you're going to get from most soccer shoes out there. As far as the outsole is concerned, it's a one-piece TPU plastic outsole, nothing too unusual, with a bladed stud pattern, as you can see. So you have your 4 blades in the heel that are laid out very close together, especially these two here at the front. So kind of curious to see how those are going to perform. And then you have a combination of 2 different bladed studs here in the forefoot. These very narrow, very sharp kind of bladed studs here at the tip. And then you have more of like an oval shaped rounded blade stud here closer towards the midfoot with 2 support studs in the middle. So for the most part, it's not an unusual stud pattern by any means. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the older TRX stud patterns from Adidas, but obviously a little bit different in terms of the shape of the studs. So I would expect that they're going to perform pretty well. And for the most part, the sole plate itself seems to be pretty high quality and matches up with the rest of the shoe for the most part. So that's pretty much it as far as all the tech specs are concerned and what you need to know about these shoes. And move on next to a quick weigh-in so you can see how lightweight these guys are. If you were to guess the weight of the Concave Quantum 2 based on how they look, you'd probably guess that they weigh a lot. But in reality, they're actually not heavy at all. So I'm going to weigh this pair for you today in real time. Keep in mind this is a brand new pair in a size 9 US. Going to throw it on the scale, and you can see that they weigh in at 10.45 ounces, which is about average weight for a pair of soccer cleats. Not too heavy, not too light, and considering you have a hard plastic shell, a kangaroo leather upper, and just a generally solid built soccer shoe, 10.45 ounces is actually pretty good and certainly not going to weigh you down, although I don't think that anybody wearing the Concave shoes as a whole is one that's worried too much about the weight of them on their feet. So that's pretty much it as far as the weigh-in portion of this video is concerned. And move on next to a quick on feet so you can get a better idea as to how these shoes fit and what the sizing is like. In order to have the largest sweet spot possible, you have to be able to position this hard plastic striking element in the correct area of your foot. And in order to do that, Concave has incorporated a lacing system that allows you to adjust the positioning of the striking element ever so slightly to the right or ever so slightly to the left, depending on the actual shape of your foot. So as you can see, I have them both right here, the ends of the laces, and it kind of just zigzags right through to the top all the way to here. So essentially what you would do is if I want it to go a little bit this way, I would pull this one, and you can see that the concave element goes a little bit to the left. If I want to reset it, I would just loosen them up again. And if I want it to go to the right, I would simply pull the right one, and as you can see, it shifts a little bit to the left. So you do have that little bit of adjustability here, and it really is a good lacing system. Again, it reminds me a lot of the Nike T90 Laser 2, which worked very similarly to this with their rubber striking element. But for the most part, it does allow you to get a nice secure fit going across the sides as well as on the top of the foot, while still maintaining the striking element to stay in the correct position, which is of course very, very important. Alright, here's a look at the Quantum 2s on feet, and I know the comment a lot of people are going to make on this particular product is that they just look weird, and I don't think there's any other way to put it. It definitely is unusual looking with this very large plastic wedge on the top, but to be fair to Concave, I think it's pretty difficult to make a shoe that looks really cool with this type of a striking element. So again, it's function over style in this particular situation, and if performance is the main goal at the end of the day, then obviously they have to continue to incorporate this concave striking element, which is obviously something that they really do believe in terms of overall performance. So as far as how these shoes fit, they're actually very, very comfortable. The kangaroo leather at the front of the shoe is nice and soft, very, very flexible, and in terms of overall width, what's great about this shoe is that they're available in both standard and wide fit variations. So the ones I have on right now are the standard width. I would assume that the wide variation is at least a bit wider. But as far as width on the standard pair that I'm wearing right now, they do have a nice snug fit through the midfoot, whereas the forefoot and toe box area definitely is a little bit wider in my opinion. And because it is made from soft kangaroo leather, I would assume that that area of the boot is actually going to stretch quite a bit as well. So for the most part, unless you have excessively wide feet, I would recommend going for the standard variation as far as width is concerned. But again, if you have really wide feet and want a pair of concaves, a wide variation is available which is always nice to see. In terms of sizing, I'm wearing my usual size 9 US here, and the fit and the length is absolutely perfect. So what's also great is that they are an unusual brand, but they run true to size, so you don't have to worry about getting the wrong size or anything like that. Just go for your normal size and they should fit you just fine. Alright guys, that's it for my unboxing / first impressions of the Concave Quantum 2. It's definitely a very, very interesting design, and I'm super curious to see how they are actually going to perform. So whether or not I can recommend these at this point in time is yet to be seen until I actually know how they perform for myself. So if you were thinking about getting a pair, unless you're just an enthusiast like myself that really is super curious about how these perform, I would say pull the trigger and get a pair. The quality is great, they fit nice, and they're just a very cool product overall if you are looking for something different. But if you genuinely care about the overall performance and don't want to buy a shoe that doesn't perform well, then again, stick around for my review. I should have some kind of a follow-up video on these in the next couple of weeks, and of course my full written review as well. So if you guys are interested in purchasing a pair of these for yourself, there will be a buy it now link in the description. But in the meantime, if you want to check out the review page on my website, which will feature the high quality images that I took myself of this shoe, just give you a better idea as to how these actually do look in person, that link can be found down below in the description as well. Other than that, if you have any questions about the shoe, and I'm sure you will, be sure to leave those down below in the comment section. I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video and want to continue seeing this kind of a variety on the channel as far as brands are concerned, be sure to support the video with a like. It would be greatly appreciated. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all of my social media information down below. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, thanks for watching.